TRC Energy Services, and we run, on behalf of PG&E, the California Multifamily New Homes Program and California Advanced Homes Program. This is the 4th installment of our Next Generation Construction Techniques webinar series, and today we are focusing on lighting technology. I'll be introducing our panelists shortly, but just to start off, we'll begin with a few logistics, and I would like to tell you a little bit about these two programs. Next slide. Great, so we're all using GoToWebinar today. This is our standard webinar software. And as always, we'll be taking questions through the questions bar. So at any point, if you have a question, feel free to type it in. And we have a few specific moments where we'll be pausing to take questions, but feel free to enter questions at any time. We will be recording this presentation, so stay tuned. In the next couple of days, I'll be distributing the recording and the slide deck to everybody so you can view later. And we actually have a YouTube channel where we've posted other webinars from this series and all the webinars that we've done for both programs. So you'll be able to access the recording that way. Next slide. Great, so as I mentioned before, both California Multifamily New Homes and California Advanced Homes programs are publicly funded. They're sponsored by Pacific Gas and Electric Company. So we run these programs, and participating projects must receive service from PG&E. Next slide. Great, so a little bit about the motivation behind these programs. So CAP, as we call it, is the Single Family New Construction Program for PG&E. CAP also operates statewide, so if you're in Southern California, you may be able to take advantage of funding through CAP as well. And then California Multifamily New Homes Program is the Multifamily New Construction Program for projects in PG&E territory. And both programs are currently accepting new applications, so we'll be sure to send you the link for information if you're interested in applying. For CMF&H, we actually do have a deadline. Projects need to complete their applications by mid-November. So feel free to follow up with us after this webinar if you have any questions. So goals for the program. So by 2015, which is this year, we have achieved this goal: 90% of new homes, at least 20% better than the 2008 code. So the new code, which launched last July, the 2013 code, there's kind of a range, but at least 20% more challenging than the 2008 code. So all projects that are permitting now are achieving this 2015 goal. And then, as many of you know, by 2020, the goal is that 100% of new homes would achieve zero net energy. So this is a really hot topic. If you have any questions about that, we're happy to chat about it later. And just a reminder that funding is limited and could change. If you would like to apply for funding with our programs, then we encourage you to submit your applications as soon as possible. Next slide. Great. So in line with the topic that we're presenting today, PG&E is hosting an event in June to showcase different lighting products, and I maybe will let our panelist Carolyn tell you a little bit more about that today. But I believe that, yes, so this is a free event, so we encourage you to put it on your calendar. It should be really fun. Next slide. Great, so this is our agenda for today. We'll be featuring a few technologies that participating in the Lighting for Tomorrow competition, and I'll let Carolyn tell you a little bit more about that. And then at the end, many of you who participate in the single family program might be aware that CAP this year launched a credit for projects that install 100% high efficacy lighting. So David of TRC Energy Service will be presenting on that. Next slide. Great. So I think we're ready to hand it over to Carolyn. I'll let her introduce herself and tell you about the Lighting for Tomorrow competition.
Great. Thank you, Shannon. Once again, my name is Carolyn Weiner. I'm the manager within our energy efficiency products team, and one of our key responsibilities is helping to design the rebates and incentives that we offer to customers around energy efficient technologies. So my team owns both residential and non-residential, and we've worked really closely with another organization on this competition I'm going to talk to you about, which is called Lighting for Tomorrow. And we want to share it with you guys today and see if it'd be a good opportunity for you guys to utilize as you start to look at some lighting solutions in the marketplace and what to scope into your projects. So we'll go ahead and get started. So Lighting for Tomorrow started off back in 2002, really centered around a collaborative effort across the nation, actually, with a variety of utilities across the United States and in Canada to look at ways to really help promote energy efficient lighting and with respect to identifying some key market barriers and how do we overcome those. So first off, obviously starting in 2002, back in that day, the focus was on fluorescent technologies and applications for those fluorescent solutions. We've now since evolved since then with more of a focus on the latest energy efficient solutions, which include LEDs and what will be up and coming. It's still fairly new and emerging, which is what we call OLEDs, or organic LEDs, for residential applications. The focus of Lighting for Tomorrow, I guess just to clarify, is residential. So all the products I'll be talking about were looked at in context to residential applications. We also looked at, one of the key barriers for energy efficient solutions within both residential and non-residential is how it plays in with lighting controls. So lighting controls are a big kind of element to help promote energy efficiency and have other key value-added features for consumers. And controls historically have been designed around the incandescent or conventional technologies. So as part of this effort, we really wanted to make sure that any solution we are kind of recognizing through this competition are looked at in context to lighting controls and will be reliable and consistent across different types of control solutions that a customer may choose. And so I think I talked a little bit about this, but as mentioned, Lighting for Tomorrow is a collaborative across different utilities, and the main reasons the utilities who offer energy efficiency programs find this really important and support this effort is they are looking for the highest quality products to support in their programs. So this competition is a good way to help kind of surface up some of the highest kind of best in class, if you will, solutions within certain applications. This helps us do that. We also wanted to make sure we are identifying those that provided above and beyond kind of the most significant energy savings we can look at. So you'll see some of the solutions we'll talk about are providing what we call the highest lumens per watt, so the most efficacious option for consumers on the market today, while also supporting the best light quality solution. So really making sure we're providing efficacy as well as high performing lighting solutions that your consumers will adopt and support and be happy with at the end of the day. And another key component of this competition is that the program representatives across these utilities actually participate in the judging as well. So we do, for example, PG&E does have a representative participate in the judging, go out and review all the different entries and be able to provide some feedback on what we think are some of those top solutions. So just to cover the key categories that we have been looking at in context to this competition, and new ones we are looking at in 2015. We cover kind of the dominant lighting applications, including a variety of indoor applications. We do look at outdoor solutions, replacement lamps, LED what we call retrofit kits, It looks like we've also started to explore OLED indoor applications as well, and then also control. So what are kind of the key control solutions out there that provide superior value? We'll talk about that as well. And then looking ahead, we in 2015 will be adding more decorative specialty replacement lamps, as well as what we consider contractor lighting. So more economic versions, economic solutions out there that still provide some good value in terms of efficiency and performance. So I'm going to spend most of the time, we'll get into the slide, but I'm going to spend most of the time talking about the winners from the 2014 competition. Will be the most of the deck, but just to finish up, I want to give you guys some context about how we review the entries to this to the competition. We look at the functionality of the fixture or product. We look at overall value. So what kind of value are you getting for the price that you're paying for it? The ease of installation as well as the ease of use. Is it, we look at elements of innovation. Is it, how innovative is it compared to other products in the marketplace? Obviously, can't stress enough trying to make sure that these solutions are compatible with different control systems and other solutions that are available in the marketplace. So compatibility is really important. And then we usually look at some other kind of unique characteristics that are identified by the judging panel themselves, something specific of interest to the judges, the judging panel that they would look at in context to these products. All right, so I'm going to move on into the recipients of the 2014 awards. And so this was, out of all those categories, what served up as what we think are key winners within their category. And so first off, I'm going to talk about pendant-mounted fixtures. The first one up is from AFX, a Cortex fixture. You can see from the image it's a fairly contemporary form factor, provides a dramatic look and features in outer sheer organza shade and a white linen inner shade. Also comes with options for CFL as well as LED lamp source solutions, dimmable, also dimmability control as well, and overall just a very nice, clean solution for different interior applications. So this is one of our top winners in this category. Also in a similar category is this Cirrus channel suspension product. This one is LED. It has an LED light source. Comes with a variety of different wiring options, and then also has dimming capabilities that it lists on its spec sheet that you can look at depending on what you're looking for. And overall, very clean design, good for either architectural lighting that you're looking for in your space, or obviously you can see in this example, just general ambient lighting for different parts of the home. So also in this category, a couple of these came in as honorable mentions, including this swirl LED pendant fixture from Blackjack Lighting. I apologize, I don't have a spec sheet for it up front, but we can pull it up if there's anyone of interest that are wanting to pursue this particular fixture in the future. And then a special recognition for this Hinckley fixture, which is the model is Hadley. Is also an LED solution. It comes with a variety of finishes. So this is just one example of several that you can choose from. And also the Hinckley brand has a couple other options that have a similar kind of decor, similar design, if you're looking for that look and feel. Is there anything else to say about this one? I think that's about it. So, excuse me. Moving on to track lighting, accent lighting. One of the ones that surfaced up to the top was Cree's Mini CXA HD punch fixture track head. And this one, obviously LED solution, came in at, actually comes in at about 16 watts, which is pretty good. And it actually packs a very good punch. You can get about 100 watts, like a traditional conventional par 38 100 watt in this very small MR16 size. So a lot of lumens for a very small package. Cree, if you're probably familiar with Cree, Cree's well known for their quality of their LED solutions. You can't go wrong with any of their fixtures, and also comes in this one actually is a CRI of 80. Some of the fixtures we mentioned here recognized have CRI of 80 or 90, depending on the type of light quality you're trying to pursue in a particular space. Another winner for kind of accent downlighting category is from Lydon Lighting. This is a 100 lumens per watt LED downlight, which is that's a pretty big deal, especially for these types of applications. This is a good solution for medium or high ceiling spaces in the home. If you have that kind of dual level space, this might be a good option for some of those really high mounted areas. Also will last quite a long time, so there's no need to really switch out the LED module very quickly. Also, obviously, all these features come with dimming capabilities, depending on what you're looking for in terms of a dimming system for your home, for the home being built. This also one I thought was interesting is actually has these emergency options available where it has a battery. You can get it capable with a battery backup, so it'll turn on an emergency light for about 90 minutes if all the power goes out in the home. Which might be seems like a very good value-added feature for consumers that are very safety and mindful of that particular element. Another winner in this category, this is a kind of a retrofit. This is a retrofit solution, which is another downlight by Eleva. And the interesting thing on this one was the sheer number of different trends and kind of reflector options you can have with this solution. So they talk about taking these 4 parts to the product and being able to mix and match different colors or other types of finishes together to meet your aesthetic needs for your space. And it can result in over 1,000 different options for you. So it's a pretty good modular solution if you want to mix and match and do different things. Also comes with obviously an LED solution, has dimming capabilities as well. So pretty similar to some of the kind of the common theme you see with a lot of the winners that were selected. This next one is a couple by the same company, TechLight, their Element line, and you see one is kind of a downlight, low profile, and then you have an adjustable solution depending on where it's being located. This one has both options for a 80 CRI as well as 90 CRI. Different color temperature options, a variety of trim options you can select from, and also once again dimmable with certain types of dimmers. It looks like that they describe on their spec sheet. So other very good solution to look at in certain types of spaces where you're looking for these types of downlighting options. All right, so moving on to honorable mention, this is a kind of a classic retrofit kit that is pretty common in the market. This is Sylvania's version of a downlight retrofit kit, which based on the evaluation came up in this category. Comes with both the adjustable gimbal feature as well as just standard straight downlight, both CRI of 90 and 80, and a variety of lumen packages to choose from as well. I'm going to move on to replacement lamps category. In this area, there's two that came up on top. One was this GE Lighting, their 100-watt replacement. And what's kind of unique about this one and the next one, when it comes to 100-watt replacements, that has historically been a challenging category for manufacturers to be able to achieve the level of performance that's needed to compare to a traditional 100-watt incandescent lamp. And so of the entries that were submitted, these two jumped out on top of kind of meeting the necessary performance needs with a superior efficacy level. So this one comes in a actually, sorry, that's for the next one, but this one's a very good one. I think GE has evolved their line a little bit since even last year. As you're probably aware, the market moves very quickly, so manufacturers are putting out new lines every year. So we'll see how they evolve it further to move forward. The other one is for MAXLite, their 17-watt A21 lamps. They also have A19 series as well. This one in particular was reviewed, has a CRI of 82. Pretty good for all your kind of general lighting solution needs. They both have screw-based and pen-based versions if needed. It's also another good option if you guys are looking for any screw-based solutions. And then we have a couple of honorable mentions or special recognitions, including this from Elimination Machine. Definitely a very, we don't get a ton of these types of accent lighting or MR16 type of solutions. So when they do come about and they're recognized, that usually means they've done a very good job. Because it is a hard application to achieve with LED and get that amount of foot candles that you're looking for at the surface in an efficacious manner. So you can pretty much guarantee that the ones that we talk about here that have served up as kind of top recognition for 2014 are doing a very good job of it. And then special recognition for GE's VR version, so kind of more of a floodlight solution, also came out as a pretty good solid option for those flood applications you're looking for. I'm going to move on into the last category that I have for you today, which is for lighting controls. So I think we only had a couple entries, but Lutron obviously came in. Lutron's been in the business for quite a while, and I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with their different product lines. So this one reviewed and came up on top as a pretty comprehensive solution. It actually comes with its own gateway. So if you're looking at more connected solutions that have multiple features, not just even for lighting, but you can tell it also for shading, and actually this also connects with one of Honeywell's Wi-Fi thermostats. So definitely getting into more of that home energy management solution, as well as helping the customer to control lighting. It has an interesting, as well as the wall dimmers, it also has a plug-in lamp dimmer as well, which is a great, an interesting solution, a great option for customers. So it has a wide array of options for you. And then also under this category is one of Lutron's their shading solutions, and this is a remote controlled shading solution. Also can plug into some of their standard remote controllers that they have, both for lights as well as for shades. So has some options for integration between the shading and lighting into a space. So also a great solution. Okay, and so that's all I had for you today. Really the goal at the end of the day was just to share with you some of the what the Lighting for Tomorrow competition was about, what we saw as key winners for 2014 as you start to think about scoping out solutions for yourself. These may be, these are the best, what we consider the best of the best in terms of within this marketplace. We are starting down the pathway of planning and kind of implementing the competition for 2015. So we'll have more options to discuss as well if any of you are interested, and we can keep you updated on that competition when it will get posted. And there's a lot of information online, both on Lighting for Tomorrow as the competition, and also showcasing. There's some PR that you can look up as well for some of the manufacturers that speak to the recognition that they receive through Lighting for Tomorrow. So a lot of great resources out there for you.
Good,
and I
maybe
think are we opening up for questions right now? Is that what you said?
Let's actually, so we have a poll that I would like to share with everybody, and so let me get ready to launch that. So this is relevant to Carolyn's presentation. Just getting a sense of your interaction with these new lighting technologies and your experience in working with either new residents or homeowners, and or if you are an energy consultant, how your developer or builder clients have been responsive to new lighting initiatives. So here we go. I'm going to launch it now. So you should be able to see the poll on your screen. So here is the question. How do your clients or your residents or clients, and that could also be or homeowners, respond to new lighting technology? So 3 options: positive, they really like the aesthetic and the fact that they're cheaper to run. Most value it, but some prefer incandescence or no controls. They like what they're used to having. The 3rd option is negative. They complain about appearance and functionality. I think we're aware that there were some tensions over CFLs and people really not liking the appearance of how those fixtures worked. And I think everyone's a lot more interested in the appearance of LEDs. So hopefully that's a more positive reaction these days. Okay, I am going to close out the poll. So Carolyn, do you want to guess how people responded to that question before I launch it?
I don't know if I want to guess. Let's just see what they say.
Okay, so I actually had 0 negative, which is pretty cool.
That's good.
As you might expect, it's 67% have the sort of middle ground, most value it, but some prefer incandescence or no controls, and then 33% said positive.
Great.
So I'm sure that's sort of a very clean-cut way of describing responses. I'm sure you guys can elaborate on the nuances of how your clients and residents have reacted to new lighting technology. So yeah, I think we're ready to open it up to questions. I guess I have a question, and I actually see someone popped up with a similar question about first costs for these lighting technologies. So obviously these examples are the most innovative at this time, and we know that in the long run they are an effective solution for residents. But say, so in the case of California Advanced Homes Program, in most cases, builders are developing these communities and then they sell the homes. Mm-hmm. How do you communicate the value of the first cost for the builder?
So typically how we look at communicating the value of these solutions is focusing probably mostly first and foremost on, especially as it relates to LED, which creates a lot more, I guess more in my opinion, more advantages for us, is just the superior light quality and the really low maintenance. So the fact that it can go into a home and they wouldn't have to touch any of that lighting for many years. And so I think that knowing that they don't really have to touch any of it, also gives you some flexibility in how you architecturally build the solution, that you can put it in, make it more dynamic spaces where you don't have to worry about an element that needs to be touched, once a year, like with traditional incandescents, where they have to be able to reach it and change out the light source that regularly. The fact that, what we, these days, especially with some of the latest LED solutions we focus on, is that you're getting the same type of light quality as incandescent, but for in a better solution with more energy savings. So especially with a large amount of light in a space, you can argue, they'll see a pretty sizable amount of savings on their utility bill if they're switching over to these more efficient light sources, and especially for nowadays the kind of the common design aesthetic is around these can lights, these down lights, which usually pack a fairly large, fairly high wattage for your traditional sources. Getting into the LED space will show some pretty substantial savings for the customer. So I think starting out with more of the aesthetics and how they can still achieve the same aesthetics, but then the added value of energy efficiency on top of that and very low maintenance is the next piece. But for this in particular, for Lighting for Tomorrow, we do recognize that some of these solutions are definitely, more top of the line, and that's why I think the next round, especially moving into 2015, we're looking at some more economic solutions as well. So you have different tiers. I think a lot of these are probably more for if you have customers or looking to build more premium homes. These are the kinds of solutions those customers are going to want and expect, and they'll get the right kind of quality for the money that they're spending.
Great. So that was a really nice description. It seems like, maybe just to summarize what you were saying, the biggest value is in the builder or developer's ability to market the technologies being comfortable and easy to maintain, and that they're passing on the cost effectiveness to the owners.
Definitely.
Okay, so I have another question, and it's about cost. Let me just look through it. Yeah, I think this question is just sort of elaborating on, it's not just the fixture. There's all of the kind of side costs of wiring, controls, and sensors. Have you done work and seen if are we expecting those costs to go down as like the cost of controls and maybe new like wireless control technology that doesn't require the intensiveness of going to the walls?
Yeah, so I definitely, as there's a couple of things at play right now that I think will start to push the costs down. And yes, there are more wireless solutions that are coming up on the market, which that a builder can take advantage of, which will minimize those costs. I think for wired solutions, those are really good when you're building the building from ground up. You're already in there, the walls haven't even been put up yet. So going in with a wired solutions is nice because you get a very consistent quality experience for your customer. We tend to focus the wireless solutions on retrofit applications where we obviously it's more costly to go into the walls and start doing some of those wiring. But yeah, those will start to come down gradually. I think we're trying to work on, at least at PG&E, trying to look at our position with lighting controls in the residential space and figuring out how we help reinforce that market and help drive the cost down further. So that's going to be a focus over the next couple of years to get that going.
And I think we'll just do one more question. The way that it was posed, it has a little bit to do with this high-efficacy lighting credit, but I think in general the point is they're wondering if I guess if you have an opinion about cost effectiveness for LED lamps in fixtures versus fully integrated LED fixtures.
As it relates to cost effectiveness?
Right, and this person indicates his experience is that the fixtures are much more expensive than just using a standard base versus with an LED lamp. Yeah, and that's kind of the way the market is structured right now. Once again, it has to do with you're getting a higher quality solution when the LED module is integrated into the fixture because the fixture is designed around that module. Once you start to move away from that and you just have your fixture and then your light source is a separate piece, it's cheaper just because the quality diminishes a little bit because once again the fixture is not designed around that light source. So the cost goes down equivalent to that. So once again, I think each solution has a certain place in the market, and it depends on who you're targeting your home at. In some homes, those higher-end solutions where you have the integrated LED are, that is optimal in our eyes because that's where you get the best performance, the best efficacy for the money you're going to spend. But knowing that certain people have certain reservation prices in mind, so that's why you have kind of the two different tiers. But they both serve a purpose, I think, in my opinion, in this marketplace. Customers will value the superior performance of those integrated solutions, and then some customers will, that's probably not as big of a priority for them, so they'll value some other elements in the home that are independent of how their light looks. So, that's kind of the way the market works. You have a variety of solutions for you, each of them, as long as we're, to some extent, getting some efficacy, high-efficiency lighting into that space, that's important. And we tend to, strive to ensure people understand the value of of those integrated solutions and why those provide more superior performance. So I hope everybody's listening closely because you're doing a great job of, I think, describing the value of how to be convincing and describing the value of these technologies. So I'll probably ask you if you can share with me some links to the resources that you were talking about, and we can include that in our follow-up with everybody.
Definitely. We'll get that out to everyone.
So if anyone has a follow-up question to what we've been talking about, feel free to enter that into the question bar. I don't see any other questions right now, so I think we're ready to pass it on to David, and then at the end we can pause for more questions about some of these technologies too. So let
me go ahead and go to the next slide.
Yes, please. Great. So I'll do a quick introduction for David. So David works with TRC just like me, and David's specialty is really in lighting, and he's actually contributed to a lot of the code enhancement studies, including the lighting requirements for the 2016 standards. And he also was part of the team that developed this CAP high-efficacy lighting credit. So he's going to tell you a little bit about how the credit works and what incentives you'll be expecting if you're taking the credit. So David, feel free to take it away.
Thanks, Shannon. I'm David Douglass-Jaimes. As Shannon mentioned, I work on mostly lighting-related issues here at TRC, and I was involved in helping the CAP team develop this high-efficacy lighting credit. So we can go to the next slide, please. Great. So as Shannon mentioned, there is this new credit this year foregoing 100% high-efficacy lighting in new construction. And it's as we've discussed, it's for any new homes installing 100% high-efficacy sources in all of the builder-installed lighting. And just to give you a little rundown about the credit itself, it'll give you 3 additional CAP points per home, and that also works out to $300 to $600 in additional incentives. And the energy savings for the life of the fixtures, which can last a pretty long time if we're working with the LED technologies, So if we can go to the next slide, we'll get a little bit more into the details of how the credit works. So again, 100% of builder-installed lighting must be high efficacy. And but what's different about this credit from the code is how we define high efficacy for the purposes of the credit. Obviously, you can use the definition that's in Title 24, which includes things like conveyed CFLs, linear fluorescent, and then integral LED fixtures, similar to some of the fixtures that Carolyn was showing earlier, as long as those LED fixtures have been certified to the Energy Commission to qualify as high efficacy. But that definition in Title 24 can be pretty limited. There's a lot of situations where there might not be fixtures that meet your needs, but that also comply with that code definition of high efficacy. So for this CAP credit, we've expanded the definition of high efficacy to include fixtures with screw bases, as long as they have LED lamps installed in them that meet the voluntary California quality LED lamp specification. And we'll go into those details a little bit more in a second. And so basically, in addition to allowing more flexibility to achieve this high efficacy credit for your project, these LED lamp requirements are also similar to the proposed updates for the 2016 Title 24 code. So working with this credit, you'll sort of be getting a head start on understanding what is required to comply with the new standards when the 2016 code goes into effect. And just to reiterate, of course, to achieve the credit, 0% of builder-installed lighting can use low efficacy sources. So no incandescent, no halogen, anything like that. Next slide. So just to go into some more details about how the credit works, as you know, you're probably familiar with the code, and any screw-based luminaires that are installed will have to be controlled by either dimmers or vacancy sensors for compliance with the standards, and that's just to make sure that we still comply with the code while also meeting the CAP credit. And then some more details about how the LED lamps can qualify for the credit. The CEC is working on developing a database or a list of lamps that will meet that voluntary quality specification. But for easy reference for this CAP credit, basically the requirements to meet the credit, the lamps must be ENERGY STAR certified, and I'm sure you've seen that before on lots of product packaging, so that's pretty easy to find. The color temperature has to be between 2700 and 3000 Kelvin, and this is the range, the color temperature range that is most similar to typical incandescent light bulbs. And this goes back to something that Carolyn mentioned earlier about making sure that we're providing and recommending products to consumers that are going to be familiar to them and what they most want to be seeing in their homes, which also relates to this next requirement. The color rendering index must be at least 90. And this is also in line with the requirements for integral LED fixtures. So it's just consistency there. And the lamps for this quality spec have to be dimmable. And just to reiterate, these requirements are consistent with the voluntary quality specification and in line with what is part of the recommended changes for the 2016 standard. Next slide.
Hey, Daniel, one comment I was going to make, and I can provide it offline, but because we do support the voluntary spec through our retrofit program for retail lighting, and we have a qualified list of products currently.
Oh,
so
great.
basically, the IOUs are managing that list in time while CEC kind of pulls together their database.
Excellent. Yeah.
So that's something we can provide, and I think that'll be a good start, just so you guys don't have to source that yourself. We can put that together for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. That would be great to be able to give to everyone so that they don't have to be searching for all the requirements themselves. So just in terms of requirements for working with the credit, for energy consultants, you need to indicate that the project is taking this high efficacy lighting credit, and make sure to select the credit in your software, either Energy Pro or CBEC Res. And if it is available, we're asking to submit a lighting schedule just as sort of a reference and verification that all of the lighting that you're installing is high efficacy. And the HERS raters will have to confirm that no low efficacy lamps were installed in the house. And then CAP staff will also be performing some quality control inspections. Next slide. So just a summary of this new credit so far. It started, as we mentioned a little earlier, at the beginning of this year. And as of now, we have about 7 projects taking the credit, which is about 16% of the total projects, which represents 14% of the lots in the program. 2 production builders and 1 custom builder, so it's sort of reaching all parts of the program. And what's sort of exciting about this is that we've had 2 projects that have added the credit to previously enrolled projects, so they're adding on to what they were already doing, and 1 project that was able to use the credit to reach an eligible CAP score, so this can really help to push you over the edge if you're close. So that's really about it, a quick overview of this credit. If you have any questions, feel free to contact the email address there, and then there's more information about all the programs, the various parts of the program. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks.
Thanks, David. So I do see a few questions already. Before we go into questions, I have another poll for everyone. And in case anybody's hopping off early, I just wanted to let you know we actually have a survey after this webinar, so that'll pop up when you guys close out. And it's really helpful for us. We really do look at the feedback to see, like, do you guys value this presentation? Was it interesting to you? Is there anything we could do to be better? And so we do these presentations for you guys so that they'll be interesting to you. So please take a minute to fill that out. So onto the poll. So this is in line with what David was talking about. We're actually just curious about your guys' experience with the high efficacy lighting credit. And I know some of you might be more involved with multifamily, and so you maybe haven't had a chance to take the high efficacy lighting credit. So feel free to abstain or not, but I'm going to launch it. So the question is, are you ready to start taking the high efficacy lighting credit? The first question, or first response, yes, we are already 100% high efficacy. Not yet, but soon. We're transitioning to high efficacy, or no, it's not a cost-effective solution for us or our clients. And I'm really curious, actually, if you guys want to write in, if you were responding to this poll, maybe what are some of the specific challenges that you're finding. I already have seen a few people respond with specific challenges, but it's good for us to know if you're interested in taking the credit, but you haven't had success yet at doing it. We'd like to make it easier for you. So most folks have answered the poll. I'm going to close it out. Okay, David, do you want to guess what the response has been?
I'm going to guess that it's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't know.
It always is in the middle, isn't it? Yeah, it's actually overwhelmingly in the middle. So 79% of folks said not yet, but soon. 16 said yes, our projects are already 100% high efficacy, and 5 said no, high efficacy lighting isn't a cost-effective option for us. So that's pretty encouraging.
Definitely.
So I'm going to look at the questions. 1 second.
One comment I was going to make just in the meantime while you're pulling up the questions, when you look for the products that were recognized under Lighting for Tomorrow, when you look at the spec sheet, some of them have already been qualified as compliant with Title 24 high efficacy lighting requirements. So you'll see a little logo on those just as an FYI. So that's there too.
Fabulous. And Carolyn, you said you had that list for the retail lighting. Do you think that that's still everything or most things would be applicable to single family?
Both single family and multifamily. The list is centered around replacement lamps and retrofit kits. So not necessarily. We haven't really ventured in the area of like full integral fixtures, and the specification doesn't actually cover those necessarily yet. So for lamps and retrofit kits, it's that's what the list is covering.
The CEC also has a really big online database of all of the fixtures that qualify as high efficacy. It's a very long list, and it's kind of unwieldy, but if you have something that you want to specifically check, if you're able to, like, you can search by manufacturer name or product name, and it'll tell you whether or not it's on that list.
Right.
And we can send a link out to everybody.
So this is a question for folks from that a few people have entered, specifically about the 90 CRI, so the color rendering index, having trouble finding a 90 or higher. So that might be an instance where I would invite folks who have had success finding lamps that meet that requirement. Maybe you could write in with some solutions that have worked for you. I don't know, David, if you have anything to add to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, that's been one of the big challenges, I think, is achieving that 90 CRI. But there are products out there. I know, for example, Cree has a 90 CRI replacement lamp on the market, and I believe, I'm not sure, but I believe the other lamp manufacturers also have products at the 90 CRI level on the market. I just haven't seen them personally yet, but that's just from my personal retail experience buying light bulbs for my house. But so they're out there. They're definitely a little harder to find, but the price point is a little bit higher than the things that are lower. But we really think that this is an important sort of threshold to make sure that we're getting the quality lighting that people want to see from their LED products.
I would add, just like I said, when we send out the list, Shannon, that will have a variety of 90, that's the specific requirement. So there's 90 CRI products on that list. Cree, Fight, Philips just came out with one. TCP has one too. So the big three are starting to, like Philips started, and then I think GE is coming up with something soon. So the big threes are coming out with theirs pretty soon. But
great. I think that'll be really helpful. So we'll include that in our follow-up email to you guys. And I'm just guessing here, but I think it's our big motivation for the 90 CRI that we are hoping that people aren't going to be taking out their super efficient lighting and replacing it with a less efficient lighting. So we want to make sure that they like it enough to keep it. Is that the idea there?
Right. Basically, we just want, learning from what we all experienced with CFLs, we really want to make sure that the LED experience is most consistent with what people are used to from their incandescent lighting, and this is one of those factors that really helps us get there. Obviously, all the products are different and perform differently, so there's still a matter of preference in there, but getting that 90 CRI will really help with that, we think. And that's also consistent with the LED fixtures as well. So to qualify it for the integral LED fixtures as high efficacy, they also have to have 90 CRI.
That's great. Okay, I'm just looking through questions. I think most of the questions were about CRI. A few more questions about cost, but I don't know. Do you guys have any data or statistics on how much the cost of LEDs has decreased since they were first introduced to the market, and then maybe how you expect that trend to continue? Is there any data about that now?
There's definitely a lot of data. I don't have any off the top of my head that I can specifically cite, but it has, the cost of LEDs have come down dramatically over the last few years, and we expect it's sort of a curve. They came down very steeply, and now that the decrease is starting to shallow, become more shallow, but we expect LED products to continue to decrease in price as the market grows and more and more people start using them. And it's similar to what you see with computer technology. With every year, the technology gets better and more efficient and cheaper. So that's sort of what we're expecting to continue to see with LED products.
Yeah, I would second that. The price has been falling tremendously. I was just laughing because we were just looking at a chart as of the last couple of days on the high CRI products and how the price has fallen for those at the retail store. So if you can imagine you're buying at wholesale or some larger quantity, you can get even lower than that. But you're looking at the traditional like A-line lamps are, most of them are under $10 now. You're looking at, except one or two are below 15, about between $15 and $10, which is $5 to $10 cheaper than what they were like a year and a half ago, I'd say, something like that.
So it might be the kind of thing, if it's not cost effective for you now, check back next year and it'll probably be a lot better.
Exactly.
Yeah, yes, it's moving pretty quickly, so depending on your timing.
If I remember correctly, the data that we used for the code, the proposal for the code revision for the 2016 standards, our expectation is that the retail price of an LED A-lamp in 2017, when the new standards go into effect, will be somewhere between $6 and $7, and that's for the high quality, high CRI lamp that we're requiring there.
So I'll just do one more plug for the high-efficacy lighting credit. So if you guys have existing projects, I think if they are active, maybe you can go, is it back 2 slides? Active.
Is that this one or the one before?
Actually, one before that.
This one? Or one below?
No, before even more. Sorry. It might be on the first slide now. I was just looking for the date that says when we can start to take which projects can retroactively add the lighting credit. So it must have been at the very beginning. But anyway, I'll send it out. I'll send it out in the email. So if you have a project that already enrolled, I think this year or is still active this year and hasn't been paid out, you can still add the lighting credit. I might caveat that in my email with the exact language, but so if you're interested in adding the credit now, if you did do high efficacy lighting, then you can get in touch with the CAP team at that email that you see on the screen now. So definitely take advantage of that if you can. So we're right on time, and most of you stuck through the entire thing. So I'm hoping you enjoyed it, and we're really thankful to Carolyn and David for contributing to the presentation. We'll be sharing a lot of resources with you in the next few days, including the slide deck and the recording of the webinar. We will have another webinar coming up, actually to feature some of the processes for working with CAP, and so like what forms to use to enroll and what forms to use to complete. So we'll be promoting that shortly. I think it'll be in late June or early July. And otherwise, when you fill out the survey at the end of this presentation, feel free to suggest other topics that you would like to learn about. So thanks everyone for joining us and taking an hour out of your day, and have a great rest of your week. Bye.